I was actually thinking of something scary to say, but unfortunately, I think I ran out of time to think of it. Hi, good evening everyone. It is a very, very late 11 p.m. This isn't actually my normal streaming time, but hi everyone. Miria from Cometa Virtual Live, and today we will be using my reading voice. Yeah. Gabi ng Lagim Chapter 1. Anyway, yes, we are going to be using my reading voice today, which means you probably won't be hearing this Miria today. No, sir. You're gonna read you're gonna hear that the other voice. Yeah. So this is the last time you're going to be hearing this, okay? For now, we'd have to focus on using this one. At the very least, we have to be kind of serious with reading stuff. Anyway, I got a lot of submissions, and Staff Chan had to dutifully nakakatakot. Yeah, Staff Chan had to dutifully scan through all of the stories, and because there are a lot, there might be a chance that we are going to be doing this kind of stream again. Yeah, the only reason why it's late at night is because, well, who would wanna listen to horror stories and creepypastas and no sleep at 7 p.m. I don't know. I feel like it's going to set the mood. That's the thing. Did you like the change in background? background music. Yeah, I had to change it because I think the lo-fi BGM that we use is it's a bit too upbeat. That's the thing. So we had to sort of fit the mood, you know. We have to fit the mood. That's essentially it. So yeah, even my room has been darkened sufficiently to set the mood. It's morning there and you're listening. I hope it still sends the same vibes that I intend. Oh yeah, I love Nightmare Before Christmas. One of those really nice classic movies to watch. But anyway, yeah, good evening everyone and welcome to the stream. Not going to lie, I'm actually a bit nervous about the reading stream because most of the stuff that's been submitted I actually have not read at all. I actually didn't even sift through the submissions. Most of it is Staff Chan. Staff Chan was the one that read through all of them and was the one that decided that okay, these are the things that I'm allowed to read. So the rest of it, I was able to take a glimpse of the I was able to take a glimpse of the titles and a little bit of the content since I had to set up the reading stream after all. But yes, I'm very nervous because they seem really, really scary and it's late at night and I'm alone in my room and it's really dark and late Halloween, quite possibly, but it's Christmas soon. Is this going to be scary? We'll see. We'll actually find out. So please do say thank you to Staff Chan because she had to do a lot of the reading for me before I actually had access to the stuff. So yes. Yeah, it is kind of late. This isn't my usual streaming time. You notice that my usual streaming time is roughly around 8 p.m. local time. And right now it's like 3 hours past that. So I hope you guys are gonna be fine. If it gets too scary or if it gets too disturbing, feel free to mute me. That's totally fine as well. I'm going to do my best to not just read it from the page, okay? I'm going to be reading it with feelings. I'm gonna put feelings into it, okay? we're gonna make an attempt to make it sound like convincing and stuff like that. You're used to waking up late for working at a I hope you'll be fine though. But yes, I will be reading it with feelings. I'm not just gonna be like reading it flatly from a page. Don't worry about it. Performance level, yes, I'll do my best. Even though I'm just gonna be reading it for the first time tonight. Also, welcome sa mga lasing dyan, sa mga galing sa stream ni Virgil. Welcome. I hope you guys are ready to be sober after spending time to... I'm not sure if we're gonna reach 3 a.m. I feel like people want to be well rested for Christmas Eve or anything of the sort. I mean, we are still going to be celebrating the holidays, right? So, drunk and scared. Sounds like a pretty neat combination. Yes, well, I'm not sure about masober kayo sa takot. And to that someone asking if Miria will be giving hugs when you guys are scared, I feel like I'm the one that's gonna need hugs because I'm very, very nervous. I'm very, very nervous. I hope you guys are ready for this. So let's be honest, 3 a.m. is our usual. Actually, I feel like there is a very big misconception. I actually don't sleep that late. I sleep roughly a few minutes past midnight. That's my usual bedtime, actually. That's my usual bedtime, and essentially, I have a fairly average sleeping schedule. I'm not calling it normal because, normal varies for everyone. But yes, it is going to be let's try to make it a sizable amount of reading. So what's going to happen is I'm going to be reading through creepypastas, stories, and Reddit No Sleep. And I'm very, very nervous. There may be some disturbing content because we are reading from No Sleep, okay? We are reading from No Sleep. And these are the ones that were submitted were actually like the really, really scary stuff from No Sleep. Like, it doesn't actually have to be horror. It could be thriller. It could be not necessarily paranormal. Unfortunately, we don't have skinwalkers. I can give a really quick run through if you guys don't want the surprises. Yeah. No sleep is better than no waking up, correct. But yeah, what's the worst thing that could happen? So yes, there are a lot of things that are still left in the submission bin. So like I said earlier, there is an opportunity for another stream of this kind in the future. So yes. What was it? I'll give a quick, yes, there are some stories from No Sleep and creepypasta.fandom.com. So yes, Staff-chan really is a very, very brave soul. So kudos to Staff-chan. Anyway, here are the, I'll give a quick rundown. So there's the Russian sleep experiment, Mr. Widemouth, the Smiling Man, Knock Off the Annoying Habit, Autopilot, and here's an actual short story from Edgar Allan Poe, Mask of Red Death. There is a writing prompt from You Lost Your Sight, package mark Return to Sender, and no end house if we still have time. So I've not read any of these before. I've not read any of them before. All right. Unfortunately, also there were some people that submitted through the submission bin with webtoons and stuff, and Staff-chan told me that we might not be able to show that on stream because we might have to be very, very careful about the things that we show on stream, just so that we're a bit safe. So yes, fear not, there will be a next time for those who have submitted their own stories. Yes, if you become scared, Miria, we are here. Thank you. I feel like Staff-chan is very, very brave. Much, much braver than I am. That's the thing. Alright. So, let me just move myself a little bit here. I'm not sure if it's going to be family friendly. It's quite disturbing, I think. Staff-chan warned me that it might be a very, I don't know, there are some tags that were very disturbing. So we did our best to make it seem like make it seem passable. That's the thing. Staff-chan might be Jan too, Kamera, yeah. Yeah, anyway, let me move myself real quick to the side over here, just around here, I think. Yes. Alright, I think this should be good. And I'll bring this one out. So we can actually start now. And you'll be able to read through what I'm reading through right around here, okay? So, I'm not sure if I can handle gore. We'll find it. We'll see. We'll see how it works. Anyway, and here is, we're going to be starting with the Russian sleeping experiment. So if you guys are ready, I hope you're not gonna leave me. Because I'm really, really scared. I also need to change my background music real quick. Yeah, Gabi ng Lagim is actually really late into the year, can you imagine? Right. Alright, I think I'm setting the mood real quick. Yeah, I hope you guys can hear the ambient background music. So alright, let's start. Okay, I know I've read this before, that's the thing, but I can barely remember the gist of I can remember the gist of it, but not everything else. So I hope you guys can see. Let's begin. Russian researchers in the late 1940s kept 5 people awake for 15 days using an experimental gas-based stimulant. They were kept in a sealed environment to carefully monitor their oxygen intake so the gas didn't kill them, since it was toxic in high concentrations. This was before closed-circuit cameras, so they only had microphones and 5-inch thick glass porthole-sized windows into the chamber to monitor them. The chamber was stocked with books, cots to sleep on, but no bedding, running water and toilets, and enough dried food to last all 5 for over a month. The test subjects were political prisoners deemed enemies of the state during World War II. Everything was fine for the first 5 days. The subjects hardly complained, having been promised, falsely, that they would be freed if they submitted to the test and did not sleep for 30 days. Their conversations and activities were monitored, and it was noted that they continued to talk about increasingly traumatic incidents in their past, and the general tone of their conversations took on a darker aspect after the 4-day mark. After 5 days, they started to complain about the circumstances and events that led them to where they were, and started to demonstrate severe paranoia. They stopped talking to each other, and began alternately whispering to the microphones and one-way mirrored portholes. Oddly, they all seemed to think that they could win the trust of the experimenters by turning over their comrades, the other subjects in captivity with them. At first, the researchers suspected this was an effect of the gas itself. After 9 days, the first of them started screaming. He ran the length of the chamber repeatedly, yelling at the top of his lungs for 3 hours straight. He continued attempting to scream, but was only able to produce occasional squeaks. The researchers postulated that he had physically torn his vocal cords. The most surprising thing about this behavior is how the other captives reacted to it. Or rather, didn't react to it. They continued whispering to the microphones until the second of the captives started to scream. The 2 non-screaming captives took the books apart, smeared page after page with their own feces, and pasted them calmly over the glass portholes. The screaming promptly stopped. So did the whispering to the microphones. After 3 more days passed, the researchers checked the microphones hourly to make sure they were working, since they thought it impossible that no sound could be coming with 5 people inside. The oxygen consumption in the chamber indicated that all 5 must still be alive. In fact, it was the amount of oxygen 5 people would consume at a very heavy level of strenuous exercise. On the morning of the 14th day, the researchers did something they said they would not do to get a reaction from the captives. They used the intercom inside the chamber, hoping to provoke any response from the captives. They were afraid were either dead or vegetables. They announced, "We are opening the chamber to test the microphones. Step away from the door and lie flat on the floor, or you will be shot. Compliance will earn you one of your immediate freedoms." To their surprise, they heard a single phrase in a calm voice respond, "We no longer want to be freed." Debate broke out among the researchers and the military forces funding the research. Unable to provoke any more response using the intercom, it was finally decided to open the chamber at midnight on the 15th day. The chamber was flushed of the stimulant gas and filled with fresh air, and immediately voices from the microphones began to object. 3 different voices began begging, as if pleading for the life of loved ones, to turn the gas back on. The chamber was opened, and soldiers sent in to retrieve the test subjects. They began to scream louder than ever, and so did the soldiers when they saw what was inside. 4 of the 5 subjects were still alive, although no one could rightly recall the state that any of them in life. The food rations past day 5 had not been so much as touched. There were chunks of meat from the dead test subject's thighs and chest stuffed into the drain in the center of the chamber, blocking the drain and allowing 4 inches of water to accumulate on the floor. Precisely how much of the water on the floor was actually blood was never determined. All 4 surviving test subjects also had large portions of muscle and skin torn away from their bodies. The destruction of flesh and exposed bone on their fingertips indicated that the wounds were inflicted by hand, not with teeth, as the researchers initially thought. Closer examination of the position and angles of the wounds indicated that most, if not all of them, were self-inflicted. The abdominal organs of below the rib cage of all 4 test subjects had been removed, while the heart, lungs, and diaphragm remained in place. The skin and most of the muscles attached to the ribs had been ripped off, exposing the lungs through the rib cage. All the blood vessels and organs remained intact. They had just been taken out and laid onto the floor, fanning out around the eviscerated but still living bodies of the subjects. The digestive tract of all 4 could be seen to be working, digesting food. It quickly became apparent that what they were digesting was their own flesh that they had ripped off and eaten over the course of days. Most of the soldiers were Russian special operatives at the facility, but still, many refused to return to the chambers to remove the test subjects. They continued to scream, to be left in the chamber, and alternately begged and demanded that the gas be turned back on lest they fall asleep. To everyone's surprise, the test subjects put up a fierce fight in the process of being removed from the chamber. One of the Russian soldiers died from having his throat ripped out. Another was gravely injured by having his testicles ripped off and an artery in his leg severed by one of the subject's teeth. Another 5 of the soldiers lost their lives, if you count ones that committed suicide in the weeks following the incident. In a struggle, one of the 4 living subjects had his spleen ruptured, and he bled out almost immediately. The medical researchers attempted to sedate him, but this proved impossible. He was injected with more than 10 times the human dose of morphine derivative, and still fought like a cornered animal, breaking the ribs and arm of one doctor. When heart was seen to beat for a full 2 minutes after he had bled out to the point there was more air in his vascular system than blood. Even after it stopped, he continued to scream and flail for another 3 minutes, struggling to attack anyone in reach and just repeating the word "more" over and over, weaker and weaker, until he finally fell silent. The surviving 3 test subjects were heavily restrained and moved to a medical facility. The two with intact vocal cords, continuously begging for the gas, demanding to be kept awake. The most injured of the 3 was taken to the only surgical operating room that the facility had. In the process of preparing the subject to have his organs placed back within his body, it was found that he was effectively immune to the sedative they had given him to prepare him for the surgery. He fought furiously against his restraints when the anesthetic gas was brought out to put him under. He managed to tear most of the way through a 4-inch wide leather strap on one wrist, even though with the weight of a 200-pound soldier holding that wrist as well. It took only a little more anesthetic than normal to put him under, and the instant his eyelids fluttered and closed, his heart stopped. In the autopsy of the test subject that died on the operating table, it was found that his blood had tripled the normal level of oxygen. His muscles that were still attached to his skeleton were badly torn, and he had broken 9 bones in his struggle to not be subdued. Most of them were from the force his own muscles had exerted on them. The second survivor had been the first of the group of 5 to start screaming. His vocal cords destroyed, he was unable to beg or object to surgery, and he only reacted by shaking his head violently in disapproval when the anesthetic gas was brought near him. He shook his head yes when someone suggested, reluctantly, that they try the surgery without anesthetic, and did not react for the entire 6-hour procedure of replacing his abdominal organs and attempting to cover them with what remained of his skin. The surgeon presiding stated repeatedly that it should be medically possible for the patient to still be alive. One terrified nurse assisting the surgery stated that she had seen the patient's mouth curl into a smile several times whenever His eyes met hers. When the surgery ended, the subject looked at the surgeon and began to wheeze loudly, attempting to talk while struggling. Assuming this must be of something of drastic importance, the surgeon had a pen and pad fetched so that the patient could write his message. It was simple. Keep cutting. The other 2 test subjects were given the same surgery, both without anesthetic as well. Although they had to be injected with a paralytic for the duration of the operation, the surgeon found it impossible to perform the operation while the patients laughed continuously. Once paralyzed, the subjects could only follow the attending researchers with their eyes. The paralytic cleared their system in an abnormally short period of time, and they were soon trying to escape their bonds. The moment they could speak, they were again asking for the stimulant gas. The researchers tried asking why they had injured themselves, why they had ripped out their own guts, and why they had wanted to be given the gas again. The only response that was given, "I must remain awake." All 3 subjects' restraints were reinforced and they were placed back into the chamber, awaiting determination as to what should be done with them. The researchers, facing the wrath of their military benefactors for having failed the stated goals of their project, considered euthanizing the surviving subjects. The commanding officer, an ex-KGB, instead saw potential and wanted to see what would happen if they were put back on the gas. The researchers strongly objected, but were overruled. In preparation for being sealed in the chamber again, the subjects were connected to an EEG monitor and had their restraints padded for long-term confinement. To everyone's surprise, all 3 stopped struggling the moment it was let slip that they were going back on the gas. It was obvious that at this point all 3 were putting up a great struggle to stay awake. One of the subjects that could speak was humming loudly and continuously. The mute subject was straining his legs against the leather bonds with all his might, first left, then right, then left again for something to focus on. The remaining subject was holding his head off his pillow and blinking rapidly. Having been the first to be wired for EEG, most of the researchers were monitoring his brain waves in surprise. They were normal most of the time, but sometimes flatlined inexplicably. It looked as if he was repeatedly suffering from brain death before returning to normal. As they focused on papers scrolling out of the brainwave monitor, only one nurse saw his eyes slip shut at the same moment his head hit the pillow. His brainwaves immediately changed to that of deep sleep, then flatlined for the last time, as his heart stopped simultaneously. The only remaining subject that could speak started screaming to be sealed in now. His brainwaves show the same flatlines as the one who had just died from falling asleep. The commander gave the order to seal the chamber with both subjects inside, as well as 3 researchers. One of the named 3 immediately drew his gun and shot the commander point blank between the eyes, and then turned the gun on the mute subject and blew his brains out as well. He pointed his gun at the remaining subject, still restrained to a bed, as remaining members of the medical and research team fled the room. "I won't be locked in here with these things! Not with you!" he screamed at the man strapped to the table. "What are you?" he demanded. "I must know!" The subject smiled. "Have you forgotten so easily?" the subject asked. "We are you. We are the madness that lurks within you all, begging to be free at every moment in your deepest animal mind. We are what you hide from in your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralysis when you cannot go into the nocturnal haven where we cannot tread." The researcher paused, then aimed at the subject's heart and fired. The EEG flatlined as the subject weakly choked out, "So nearly free." Actually, I keep that there. I'll keep that there, yeah. So, okay, I didn't have a time. I didn't have time to look at chat the whole time. I'm sorry. And I also noticed that there were some things. Wait, I need to drink water. Yes, and that is the Russian sleeping experiment. This is actually one of the earlier no sleep or creepypastas that I was very familiar with from back then. It was very, very popular before. But because it's been a long time since I last read it, I already forgot what has happened. And in the middle of the things, I was starting to get goosebumps. Yeah, it's still a spooky read. That's the thing. It's a classic for a reason, you know. Ooh. I didn't know that they made a movie out of this. Also, I remember when I saw this, when I first saw this, they actually had an image attached. They actually had an image attached for what the test subjects looked like, and it was really, really scary. Like very, yeah. Like there was a reason why this was very popular from before, right? There was a reason why it was very popular. So yeah, the scariest part, let's see. I think it's the fact that they wanted to stay awake the whole time. That they wanted to avoid sleeping, and this is how we start No Sleep December. Yes, it was very scary. Body horror hits very, very differently, actually. The self-inflicted gore is painful. Yeah. If it's your first time hearing it, I hope it wasn't too freaky, because there are some, yeah, most of the no sleep stuff in Reddit and the creepypastas are actually very very, very scary. That's the thing. So there are a lot of common themes to it, and that's just the first. You were able to manage, but damn, yeah, I know, yeah. They ate themselves to keep themselves awake, yeah. And they absolutely ignored the rations. They ignored the rations, and yeah, Reddit has a lot of creepypastas. You really have to filter out which ones are like the ones worth reading, or the ones that actually bring you chills down your spine. Yes, it really is The Nightmare Before Christmas, and that's just the first one. There are actually a lot. With that narration, I would like to request an SCP file reading stream, please. We can do that in the future. I love SCPs. Yes, it is very much a classic. Yeah. Mukbang, but with its own body parts. Yeah. Scary. Yeah. Some SCPs are very cool. Some of them aren't exactly as scary. Some of them are just very, very well crafted and very well thought out. Yeah. Yeah, it's very fascinating, SCPs. So if you aren't into it right now, I suggest reading the more popular ones, and I feel like you might develop a taste for them. I don't know if taste is the best way to describe it after we just heard people eat themselves alive, but yeah. The first SCP that I actually read was Peanut. I first learned about SCP through Peanut, and I couldn't sleep for a few nights because of that. Because of that, yeah. Peanut freaked me out a lot when I was younger. Yeah. And it takes a lot of creative juices to actually write very interesting, well-crafted SCPs. So yeah. Don't blink. Yeah. Peanut is definitely a classic. Yeah. Anyway, that's just the first one. Let's see what we're going to be reading next. We're reading Mr. Widemouth. We'll be reading Mr. Widemouth next. Peanut has his lore updated. I actually didn't know that. I might read it later. I might read it later. But anyway, yeah, okay. I actually do want to play some SCP games on stream. Yeah, I do. Okay, Russian sleeping experiment was the thing that we started with because this is the only thing on the list that I'm actually familiar with, okay? So the next few stories that I will read out is something I am unfamiliar with. So you may notice that I take a lot of, I don't know, I take a lot of breaks. There are some long ones here though. So maybe we can continue it with a part 2. Mr. Widemouth. Yeah. I'm nervous as well. So let me just change the title real quick. Yes, let me change the title real quick. Yeah, Mr. Widemouth. There we go. Yeah, alright. So I'll save that. And let me shift to this one. So I hope you guys are ready for number 2. Yeah. So I hope you like that I have feelings. Mr. Widemouth reminds you of a certain medic? Gee, I wonder who that could be. Anyway, I hope you like the reading voice because normally I speak like this, right? I don't think you can take me seriously if I use this voice if this is how you read through stuff. So we are going to be using this one. Anyway, yes, let us proceed with Mr. Widemouth. Alright, let me see. Did it update? Let's start. During my childhood, my family was like a drop of water in a vast river, never remaining in one location for long. We settled in Rhode Island when I was 8, and there we remained until I went to college in Colorado Springs. Most of my memories are rooted in Rhode Island, but there are fragments in the attic of my brain which belong to the various homes we had lived in when I was much younger. Most of these memories are unclear and pointless. Chasing after another boy in the backyard of a house in North Carolina, trying to build a raft to float on the creek behind the apartment we rented in Pennsylvania, and so on. But there was one set of memories which remains as clear as glass, as though they were just made yesterday. I often wonder whether these memories are simply lucid dreams produced by the long sickness I experienced that spring, but in my heart, I know they are real. We were living in a house just outside the bustling metropolis of New Vineyard, Maine, population 643. It was a large structure, especially for a family of 3. There were a number of rooms that I didn't see in the 5 months we resided there. In some ways, it was a waste of space, but it was the only house on the market at the time, at least within an hour's commute to my father's place of work. The day after my 5th birthday, attended by my parents alone, I came down with a fever. The doctor said I had mononucleosis, which meant no rough play and more fever for at least another 3 weeks. It was horrible timing to be bedridden. We were in the process of packing our things to move to Pennsylvania, and most of my things were already packed away in boxes, leaving my room barren. My mother brought me ginger ale and books several times a day, and these served the function of being my primary form of entertainment for the next few weeks. Boredom always loomed just around the corner, waiting to rear its ugly head and compound my misery. I don't exactly recall how I met Mr. Widemouth. I think it was about a week after I was diagnosed with mono. My first memory of the small creature was asking him if he had a name. He told me to call him Mr. Widemouth because his mouth was large. In fact, everything about him was large in comparison to his body. His head, his eyes, his crooked ears. But his mouth was by far the largest. "You look kind of like a Furby," I said as I flipped through one of my books. Mr. Widemouth stopped and gave me a puzzled look. "Furby? What's a Furby?" he asked. I shrugged. "You know, the toy. The little robot with big ears? You can pet and feed them. Almost like a real pet. Oh. Mr. Widemouth resumed his activity. You don't need one of those. They aren't the same as having a real friend. I remember Mr. Widemouth disappearing every time my mother stopped by to check in on me. I lay under your bed, he later explained. I don't want your parents to see me because I'm afraid they won't let us play anymore. We didn't do much during those first few days. Mr. Widemouth just looked at my books, fascinated by the stories and pictures they contain. The third or fourth morning after I met him, he greeted me with a large smile on his face. I have a new game we can play, he said. We have to wait until after your mother comes in to check on you, because she can't see us play it. It's a secret game. After my mother delivered more books and soda at the usual time, Mr. Widemouth slipped out from under the bed and tugged my hand. We have to go to the room at the end of this hallway, he said. I objected at first, as my parents had forbidden me to leave my bed without their permission, but Mr. Widemouth persisted until I gave in. The room in question had no furniture or wallpaper. Its only distinguishing feature was a window opposite the doorway. Mr. Widemouth darted across the room and gave the window a firm push, flinging it open. He then beckoned me to look out the ground below. We were on the second story of the house, but it was on a hill, and from this angle the drop was farther than 2 stories due to the incline. I like to play pretend up here, Mr. Widemouth explained. I pretend that there's a big, soft trampoline below this window, and I jump. If you pretend hard enough, you bounce back up like a feather. I want you to try. I was a 5-year-old with fever, so only a hint of skepticism darted through my thoughts as I looked down and considered the possibility. It's a long drop, I said. But that's all part of the fun. It wouldn't be fun if it was only a short drop. If that were the way, you may as well just bounce on a real trampoline. I toyed with the idea, picturing myself falling through thin air only to bounce back to the window on something unseen by human eyes. But the realist in me prevailed. Maybe some other time, I said. I don't know if I have enough imagination. I could get hurt. Mr. Widemouth's face contorted into a snarl, but only for a moment. Anger gave way to disappointment. If you say so, he said. He spent the rest of the day under my bed, quiet as a mouse. The following morning, Mr. Widemouth arrived holding a small box. I want to teach you how to juggle, he said. Here are some things you can use to practice before I start giving you lessons. I looked into the box. It was full of knives. My parents will kill me! I shouted, horrified that Mr. Widemouth had brought knives into my room. Objects that my parents would never allow me to touch. I'll be spanked and grounded for a year! Mr. Widemouth frowned. It's fun to try to juggle with these. I want you to try it. I pushed the box away. I can't. I'll get into trouble. Knives aren't safe to just throw in the air. Mr. Widemouth's frown deepened into a scowl. He took the box of remaining knives and slid under my bed, remaining there the rest of the day. I began to wonder how often he was under me. I started having trouble sleeping after that. Mr. Widemouth often woke me up at the night, seeing he had a real trampoline under the window, a big one that I couldn't see in the dark. I always declined and tried to go back to sleep, but Mr. Widemouth persisted. Sometimes he stayed by my side until early morning, encouraging me to jump. He wasn't so fun to play with anymore. My mother came to me one morning and told me I had her permission to walk around outside. She thought the fresh air would be good for me, especially after being confined to my room for so long. Ecstatic, I put on my sneakers and trotted out to the back porch, yearning for the feeling of sun on my face. Mr. Widemouth was waiting for me.
I have something I want you to see,
he said. I must have given him a weird look because he then said,
It's safe, I promise.
I followed him to the beginning of a deer trail which ran through the woods behind the house.
This is an important path,
he explained.
I have a lot of friends about your age. When they were ready, I took them down this path to a special place. You aren't ready yet, but one day I hope to take you there.
I returned to the house wondering what kind of place lay beyond that trail. 2 weeks after I met Mr. Widemouth, the last load of our things had been packed into a moving truck. I would be in the cab of that truck, sitting next to my father for the long drive to Pennsylvania. I considered telling Mr. Widemouth that I would be leaving, but even at 5 years old, I was beginning to suspect that perhaps the creature's intentions were not to my benefit, despite what he said otherwise. For this reason, I decided to keep my departure a secret. My father and I were in the truck at 4 a.m. He was hoping to make it to Pennsylvania by lunchtime tomorrow with the help of an endless supply of coffee and the 6-pack of energy drinks. He seemed more like a man who was about to run a marathon rather than one who was about to spend 2 days sitting still. "Early enough for you?" my father asked with a hint of sympathy. I nodded and placed my head against the window, hoping for some sleep before the sun came up. I felt my father's hand on my shoulder.
This is the last move, son, I promise. I know it's hard for you, as sick as you've been. Once Daddy gets promoted, we can settle down and you can make friends.
I opened my eyes as we backed out of the driveway. I saw Mr. Widemouth's silhouette in my bedroom window. He stood motionless until the truck was about to turn onto the main road. He gave a pitiful little wave goodbye, steak knife in hand. I didn't wave back. Years later, I returned to New Vineyard. The piece of land our house stood upon was empty except for the foundation, as the house burned down a few years after my family left. Out of curiosity, I followed the deer trail that Mr. Widemouth had shown me. Part of me expected him to jump out from behind a tree and scare the living bejesus out of me, but I felt that Mr. Widemouth was gone, somehow tied to the house that no longer existed. The trail ended at the New Vineyard Memorial Cemetery. I noticed that many of the tombstones belonged to children. Right. Oh, actually, when I was reading, I really felt it. I really felt it on my arm. Yeah, apparently Mr. Widemouth was really trying to kill OP. Which is really scary, and considering that you are, if I had a fever, I feel like I wouldn't be, very rational. Yeah, I feel like, actually, the closer we were getting to, the climax of the story, I was really feeling as though there was something behind me. Yeah, good thing that kid was smart. What are you doing, Step Widemouth? But yeah, it creeped me out a lot, and that's just like, yeah. Oh boy, that was so scary. I don't think I've ever moved out a lot when I was younger. Sure, I've experienced being in different houses before, different buildings, stuff like that. But like, nothing like this. And you know how when you watch, yeah, I know, if only most horror protagonists were as smart as this kid. More like, leave me alone, Widemouth, I'm sick. But anyway, yeah, dorms, yeah, stuff like that. you know how in horror stories, horror movies, the cheapest house in the market is usually haunted? That's the kind of vibe this sort of story gave me. Yes, actually, schools, it's the schools that are creepy. Yeah. The fact that it ends that way is chilling. It's a very real ending, not much explanation that can make it too foreign. Yes, exactly. You know how there are some stories that have open endings? This is not one of them. It actually puts a period to the entire thing, and it just comes back full circle. It explains what was happening when you're of a rational mind. So that's scary. We only moved 2 times, and now we're living in the same house for almost 16 years. Yeah, it's quite the experience actually to change, moving from one place to another. It can be very, very stressful. Yeah, it's the ending. It's the ending that really ties things together. Hello, ELAINE. Welcome to the stream. I just finished 2 stories so far, and suffice it to say that I feel like I might not be able to close my eyes later. There were stories of possessions in your old school's dormitory. Yeah, actually a lot of... Because you know how there are a lot of schools that were built on top of cemeteries and stuff like that. Hello. Good ending really makes a story more impactful. Yes, actually. I feel like the way the ending punctuates a story really fixes the message that way. Can you have a hug? I'll give everyone a hug after this, okay? I just want... Let's try finishing this. Actually, I'm surprised. It's almost been an hour and we're only 2 stories in. We're only 2 stories in. Group hug, yes. Yeah, Catholic schools usually have the best ghost stories because there are a lot of stories that are happening around there, you know? Yeah. So first we had the Russian sleeping experiment, and now we have Mr. Widemouth, which sounded like a typical imaginary friend sort of thing. Yeah, a typical imaginary friend sort of thing. And I feel like at this point, Mr. Widemouth must have felt pity for OP, because he was sick. Maybe that's why he didn't bring him there yet. But yeah, for real? Yeah, it only felt like a few minutes actually. Like if you were reading without any without feelings or without actually narrating stuff, I feel like you would be reading at a much faster pace. But the mere fact that I am speaking all of this, yeah, because I'm narrating it with feelings, it takes a bit longer. But I hope that you guys are having an experience. I'm not gonna say if it's a good or a bad experience, but like, yeah. Not all imaginary friends are friends. Yes, actually. More of the story is be rational. More of the story is not be a cheapskate. I hope you guys are having fun though. Usually people watch VTubers for the stream. For the stream, but like for games and stuff. Yeah. Mr. Widemouth deals no real danger. If you're an adult, you can easily suplex him into oblivion. Well, if he has a steak knife, I don't know if you can take him on. You wouldn't punch a guy with a knife. Yes. Anyway, let's see what we're reading next. There was a submission called The Smiling Man, and Staff Chen approved this. And to be fair, the difference between Russian Sleeping Experiment and Mr. Widemouth is that The Smiling Man is, I forget, but I think it's based on a true story. I haven't read it yet, but I kind of feel like anything smiling. Yeah, anything that has a smile actually freaks me out. It really, really freaks me out. This kind of stream is new to me, so I want to know where this takes us all. I'm glad you guys are loving it. But anyway, yes. Hope chat's doing well. Anyway, I haven't read The Smiling Man. So yes, there's a short film based on this story, by the way. Oh god, that's scary. Well, you know I'm cute. And you know that smile is, you know, coming from a cute girl. I'd like to think I'm cute. Yeah, cute. But, I don't know. Because I think the subreddit that this, The Smiling Man was from is actually like let's not meet. So I'm thinking this is one of those blind dates gone wrong kind of thing. Yeah. Because it's really scary. Okay, I'm readying myself. I'm just checking behind my back just to see if there's anything there, and so far nothing. Just my stuff. Alright. Alright, let's proceed. This is going to be our third story. Actually, I'm starting to realize when Staff-chan and I were compiling this for pre-stream prep, I was like, I'm not sure if I'll have enough time, but maybe I'll read like 7 or 8 stories today. And Staff-chan was like, oh, maybe you can add more of this. Maybe you can add you sure it's not beside you? I hope not. Staff-chan told me that, why don't you add this one too? And blah, 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 and stuff like that. And then, okay, sure, I'm fine with that. But now that we're here, it's been an hour and it's only 2 stories. So, we might have to do this again sometime if you guys are interested. And I'm surprised, okay, I'm surprised that it's past 11. It's almost going to be midnight. Under the table? Ooh, spooky. What are you doing there? Yeah. Alright, let me set up the smiling man. Alright. Okay, let me change the title real quick. Survey lang po from under the table. What are you serving? Alright. I think it's ready. Let me just change the music real quick. Alright, here we go. I hope you guys are ready for this. Actually, let me drink a little bit of water real quick. Alright, I think that should be good. About 5 years ago, I lived downtown in a major city in the US. I've always been a night person, so I would always often find myself bored after my roommate, who was decidedly not a night person, went to sleep. To pass the time, I used to go for long walks and spend the time thinking. I spent 4 years like that, walking alone at night, and never once had a reason to feel afraid. I always used to joke with my roommate that even the drug dealers in the city were polite. But all of that changed in just a few minutes of one evening. It was a Wednesday, somewhere between 1 and 2 in the morning, and I was walking near a police-patrolled park quite a ways away from my apartment. It was a quiet night, even for a weeknight, with very little traffic and almost no one on foot. The park, as it was most nights, was completely empty. I turned down a short side street in order to loop back to my apartment when I first noticed him. At the far end of the street on my side was the silhouette of a man dancing. It was a strange dance, similar to a waltz, but he finished each box with an odd forward stride. I guess you could say he was dance walking, headed straight for me. Deciding he was probably drunk, I stepped as close as I could to the road to give him the majority of the sidewalk to pass me by. The closer he got, the more I realized how gracefully he was moving. He was very tall and lanky, and wearing an old suit. He danced closer still, until I could make out his face. His eyes were open wide and wild, head tilted back slightly, looking off at the sky. His mouth was formed in a painfully wide cartoon of a smile. Between the eyes and the smile, I decided to cross the street before he danced any closer. I took my eyes off of him to cross the empty street. As I reached the other side, I glanced back, and then stopped dead in my tracks. He had stopped dancing, and was standing with one foot in the street, perfectly parallel to me. He was facing me, but still looking skyward, smile so wide on his lips. I was completely and utterly unnerved by this. I started walking again, but kept my eyes on the man. He didn't move. Once I had put about half a block between us, I turned away from him for a moment to watch the sidewalk in front of me. The street and sidewalk ahead of me were completely empty. Still unnerved, I looked back to where he had been standing to find him gone. For the briefest of moments, I felt relieved until I noticed him. We had crossed the street and was slightly now crouched down. I couldn't tell for sure due to the distance and the shadows, but I was certain he was facing me. I had looked away from him for no more than 10 seconds, so it was clear that he had moved fast. I was so shocked that I stood there for some time staring at him, and then he started moving toward me again. He took giant, exaggerated, tiptoed steps as if he were a cartoon character sneaking up on someone. Except he was moving very, very quickly. I'd like to say at this point I ran away or pulled out my pepper spray or my phone or anything at all, but I didn't. I just stood there, completely frozen as the smiling man crept toward me. And then he stopped, about a car length away from me, still smiling his smile, still looking to the sky. When I finally found my voice, I blurted out the first thing that came to mind. What I meant to ask was, "What the fuck do you want?" in an angry, commanding tone. What came out was a whimper. What the fuck? Regardless of whether or not humans can smell fear, they can certainly hear it. I heard it in my own voice, and that only made me more afraid. But he didn't react to it at all. He just stood there, smiling. And then, after what felt like forever, he turned around, very slowly, and started dance walking away, just like that. Not wanting to turn my back to him again, I just watched him go, until he was far enough to almost be out of sight. And then I realized something. He wasn't moving away anymore. Nor was he dancing. I watched in horror as the distant shape of him grew larger and larger. He was coming back my way, and this time he was running. I ran too. I ran until I was off on the side road and back onto a better lit road with sparse traffic. Looking behind me then, he was nowhere to be found. The rest of my way home, I kept glancing over to my shoulder, always expecting to see his stupid smile, but he was never there. I lived in that city for 6 months after that night, and I never went out for another walk. There was always something about that face that always haunted me. He didn't look drunk, he didn't look high. He looked completely and utterly insane. And that's a very, very scary thing to see. Okay. That was something. That was something. That was actually very short, actually. That was very, very short. I was expecting something longer. Yes, I'm fine. I'm fine. All you're mentioning is that he was shuffling. Oh god. Aggressively dances towards you. Ow, my glasses hit my microphone. Ouch. Yeah. Woo woo woo. And this was based on a real story. That was based on... Okay. Actually, I was already RIP only sponsorship, yeah. Yeah, when I was in a... Yes, it was based on a real story, that's the thing. Yes, a person actually experienced this. This was not on Reddit No Sleep, where No Sleep is usually, maybe sometimes real stories interspersed with a lot of fiction. But, the Smiling Man was placed on our Let's Not Meet. And, most of those stories are usually dates gone wrong or stuff like that, or people that OP meets and, you know, things just go really bad. And most of them are just really funny, bad stories, but this is, like, terrifying. I feel like, yeah. Yeah, it's weird walking alone at night. Back when I was still studying, I used to go out for late nights, going to a cafe to study because I couldn't study at home. I couldn't study at the dorms. It was difficult for me to focus, and I found that studying in cafes was actually something I found to be very relaxing. Yeah, so I studied in cafes a lot, and because my roommates were from a different course compared to me, they don't particularly find it appealing to study late at night outside, away from the dormitories. So yeah, yeah, it helps being very wary every time you're alone. Whenever I walk out at night when I'm alone, I always make sure to walk towards where there's light. Always where there's light, because you know, you don't know what's lurking in the shadows. That's the thing. Or I try to avoid badly lit places. I try to avoid places that don't have a lot of feet traffic, is that the term? But yeah, after reading this, I feel like, well, to be fair, I don't go out anymore. I don't go out late at night anymore. So yeah, really scary. The thing that makes this scary is that he was wearing something that doesn't look like that doesn't look particularly scary in the first place. I think he was wearing like a suit. Was he wearing a suit? Yeah. Yeah, usually going where there's more people is generally safer. When you were studying, commuting through a not so good neighborhood. Yeah. Actually, I've been held at gunpoint before. Because I was walking late at night. And my stuff got stolen. So, that was a learning experience that I would never ever repeat. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it happened before. Yeah. I have lived many different experiences before. One of them is walking late at night. I think it was roughly around 3 a.m. Yeah, it was around 3 a.m. and I was walking home. And yeah. Actually, I even had my phone out. Now the thing was, that phone was one of those old Nokia phones. I think it was a 3310. The kind of phone that when you throw somewhere it doesn't break. The one that has snake. But yeah, I was texting my mom. I was telling her that I'm already going home. Please don't worry about me. I'll be fine. But yeah, at the time, there was a motorcycle that was darting towards me. Actually, when you look at it from the distance, when you're looking at the road, you don't normally think that they're heading towards you. You just think that they're following the road. That's the thing. So like, I didn't pay it that much mind. There were also other cars at the side that were parked, and there were people inside minding their own business. But this particular motorcycle, I originally thought was just following the road, heading to wherever it was going, actually darted straight towards me. So much so that it actually started driving on the pavement, on the sidewalk itself. And then it just like hopped off the motorcycle, and then he pointed a gun at me, point blank. That was the thing. And yeah, it was scary. It was really scary. So like I immediately gave him my phone. It was really funny in hindsight because I was giving a Nokia 3310 or something. Like not the kind of phone that people would steal. That's the thing. I'd get, here, have my Nokia. It's fine, you can take it. But then he snatched my my necklace off. He snatched my bracelet, and then he took off my bag, and he just held it there. He just stood there as if he was waiting for me to run away. And like, yeah, it was really scary. And at that moment I felt like adrenaline was already rushing through my veins, but the problem was, it felt like my legs were jelly. It felt like I couldn't run at all. And I was looking around, and there were some people who were already witnessing what was happening, but I feel like because that person had a gun, nobody wanted to intervene or help, because, you know, nobody wants to get shot. That's the thing. And yeah, so he just stood there, gun pointed towards me, and I had to find the drive to actually like run. So I ran as fast as I could. And the problem, well, it wasn't really a problem. The good thing is that my house was just like 4 blocks away, so I could run to it. But like, I never looked back. I never tried to look if he was still there, or if he had gone away with my stuff. But yeah. Yeah, I think it was the bystander syndrome, the experience of the bystander effect. Yeah. Yeah, if they did something, they might have done, the perpetrator, the suspect might have done something else. And that's, I guess in hindsight, when that happened, when I got home, I was crying to my mom. And my mom was mad at me. Why? Kaya, yan kasi! Hindi ka kasi umuwi ng maaga. Maglalakad-lakad ka pa ng 3:00 ng umaga. Tapos ngayon, iiyak-iyak ka sa akin. Not helping, mom. But anyway, yeah, when I got back, yeah, no, I never got anything back. That's the thing. Yeah. Instead of comforting me, my mom scolded me. Which, to be fair, makes sense. I mean, like, it was 3 a.m. Why the hell would anyone with a sane mind try walking outside at 3 a.m.? To be fair, I was going home. But anyway, yeah, the moment that I got home, I was really, really mad. I was really, really mad. And why weren't the people around me helping me? They already saw that something bad was happening. So yeah, kaka-cellphone mo yan. Yes, exactly. But yeah, I was really mad. Why weren't they helping? Because they were there. They could have helped me. I was so mad at them. But looking back at it now, I feel like if they had intervened, maybe the robber would have panicked and would have probably fired some lead. And maybe in hindsight, that was not the best experience to have at all. So yeah. Yes, I know. They're mad, they're distressed and worried as well. And I understand that. Getting older actually gives you perspective into how older people think, you know. I mean, I'm not as old as my parents, but I understood. Also, to be fair, maybe it was a fake gun. I had gun training back at high school. Yeah. So I know at some point I learned how to tell if a gun was loaded, if a person actually had intent. Like, the first thing that they teach you when it comes to guns is that you're not supposed to put your gun on the trigger at all unless you're really going to fire. And that man right there, he really had it there. Yeah. CAT, yes. We had gun training before. So yeah, that man who drove right next to me on his motorcycle had his gun on the trigger, and I was not going to risk thinking it's a fake gun. Yeah. Basically, trigger discipline. And it looked like a legit gun. Okay, it wasn't like one of those fake. It was. Remember, I said that I always walk in fairly well lit places, and that place was fairly well lit. It had bright lights, so the sheen of the metal on the gun was unmistakable. It wasn't one of those fake guns that you would probably mistake if we were in a dark place. That's the thing. So yeah. I also doubt that they have any sense of gun safety, but at the same time, I probably would not I would not risk it. If I had risked it, you know, I might not be here. So yeah, I chalk it up to experience. I don't particularly walk that late at night anymore. I always try to be with people who can guarantee my safety. Yes, airsoft guns are actually realistic looking. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So, yeah, I'm glad I'm safe. But yeah. Yeah, so, that's, not a creepypasta, but, real life horror stories. Well, I feel like it's not something unique, but at the same time, you know, it's still not the kind of experience you would want to feel. So I hope you guys stay safe, and if ever you guys are going outside, please make sure you're please make sure you stay safe. Hi Ruby, hello, welcome to the stream. But yeah, it's really creepy. So I hope that if you ever find the need to stay outside for that long, please be safe. Yeah. Yes, nag-iingat na ako palagi ngayon. I have to make sure that I'm safe, you know. I have responsibilities like a normal person have. It is grammar at 12 midnight anyway. Anyway, good morning guys. It is 12 a.m. I hope I hope you guys are ready for more. Let's see. Yeah, the best tactic is to go home with a group of friends. Or, you know, don't walk. Don't walk. You're an easier target that way. Pasko na? Well, not necessarily Pasko na. It's almost Christmas. It's Christmas Eve. So, let's add another story to that list. Let me just remove the smiling man. Let's see. What's our next story? Okay, this submission up next is, I think is also on No Sleep. It's called, How Do I Get My Girlfriend to Knock Off This Annoying Habit? And I feel like this, Staff-chan warned me that this, is less supernatural and more, I don't know, home. How do I get my girlfriend to knock off this annoying that's a long title habit? Yeah, okay, there we go. So yeah, this is psychological, I think. Maybe psychological. Yeah. I feel like at this point everything is not safe for work, considering that we're dealing with a lot of brutal stuff, and yeah, we're dealing with a lot of brutal. Yes, it sounds like a Japanese light novel title right there, or a Fallout Boy song. But yeah, this was on No Sleep as well. So let's start. Let me just drink another sip of water. Okay. Yeah, I was on No Sleep. Alright, let's start. So I've been dating my girlfriend for almost a year. And last month, we moved in together. Maybe that's kind of fast, I don't know. My parents sure thought it was, but honestly, everything was great in the beginning. We get along really well, and we've never had more than a brief argument. But then, she started whistling. It's so dumb, I know, but she always starts whistling this weird song, and it really gets on my nerves. My mom kept telling me that once you move in with someone, you discover all of the quirks they've been hiding from you. And it's not like I didn't expect that to be true. But for some reason, this is just an ongoing issue with us, and I don't know what to do. At first, I would just hear her whistling it when she was showering. It was kind of cute, like her own little bathroom theme song. I didn't recognize the melody, but it was very distinct. I could mimic it from memory if I wanted to. In fact, sometimes it gets stuck in my head and it drives me a little crazy. You know the type. After a week or so, I asked her what the song was, and she just laughed. I'm wondering if maybe she came up with it on her own, something that she does absently, especially when she started doing it more. Like, I'd be reading a book, and she'd be on the computer, and she'd just start whistling. And I tried to ignore it. I seriously feel like a dick for being so grumpy about it, and I know she wasn't doing it to annoy me, but she'd just go on, and it would pull my attention away from whatever I was doing. So I finally said something a few nights ago. I was going over some legal documents for work, and she just starts whistling like crazy. On. And I'm just trying to block it out, but it's seriously excessive. Like, I know you guys are probably thinking that I was overreacting, but it felt like she was whistling right into my ear, and it frayed the last bit of my patience. As calmly and nicely as I could, I called out to her and asked her to quiet down. She didn't reply. I asked her again, and she still didn't answer. So I left the bedroom and found her in the living room watching a movie. She wasn't whistling anymore, and for some reason, that really irked me. It felt like she was messing with me, and she just looked over me, like she didn't know what my deal was. I asked her if she could stop whistling so much, and she told me she wasn't whistling. Now, I get that maybe she doesn't realize she's doing it, but no one whistles that much and doesn't notice. It's not really like her to mess with me like that, and I don't know if she's trying to get me... I don't know what she's trying to get out of this. I thought maybe she was teasing or playing a joke, but she had to see how annoyed I was. I asked her again to just not whistle so loudly, and she didn't answer. There was tension in the room, and it felt like our first fight since moving in together. Even though she didn't whistle for the rest of the night, I couldn't focus on my work anyway because I was upset about the confrontation. Then, of course, the next night, she was whistling again. I hear her when she comes home from work, and she keeps going on for at least an hour. I didn't want to have another fight, so I just hung out in the bedroom and listened to her move around for a while. I felt like I was blowing things out of proportion. But honestly, how hard is it to just not whistle all the time? It was no big deal when it was now and then, but I feel like she whistles more than she even talks to me now.
So I'm sitting up in the room thinking about that, and that's probably why I was so worked up when I finally came down. She was cooking dinner, which is sweet, but she was whistling. So I said, "Hey, honey, maybe we should put on some music instead so you don't have to fill the silence with whistling." I tried to play it off as a joke, but I knew she'd probably see through it and get annoyed again. She didn't even turn to face me, just huffed and kept cooking. After a minute, I told her I was sorry about the other night, but the whistling just sort of strikes my ear wrong. And if she could just try to not whistle so much and so loudly, it would make my life a lot easier. I feel like I was being fair. I know it seems controlling and nitpicky, but it was bothering me a lot. We all have our things, you know. I try not to chew so loudly at the table because it bothers her, so why can't she just stop whistling sometimes for me? But she totally freaked out. She turned around and told me she wasn't whistling and she didn't know what my problem was. At this point, I didn't get why she was doing this. It obviously wasn't funny for either of us, and she seemed genuinely upset, so I don't know why she kept provoking me. I asked her what her deal was, why she was so defensive about the stupid whistling, and she told me to shut up. She told me like she was sick of talking about it, like I was the one being unreasonable. I never got mad at her, but I just snapped. I told her to stop whistling before I lost my mind. She called me crazy, just because I was getting a little upset, and somehow that was all that I could take. I grabbed one of the cast iron pans from the stove and swung it on her head as hard as I could. She fell over and smashed her head on the counter, but I swung the pan again before she hit the ground. I think I hit her maybe 3 or 4 times. I don't remember, but I feel horrible. There was blood everywhere and her jaw might be broken. No, I think it is for sure. I couldn't believe I lost my temper like that, and I have no idea how we can move past this. I feel so ashamed for letting things get physical regardless of how she might have been provoking me. But here's the kicker. She's still fucking whistling. And I asked her nicely to please stop, but now she just won't even pause. For 2 days, she's just been lying on the kitchen floor with her eyes rolled back and her mouth hanging open. She's marinating in congealed blood, and she's still fucking whistling. I don't know what to do. I don't want to break up, but this is just too much. I just need her to shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up.
Oh boy, that was something. What? Yeah. What? Yeah, I think OP was, there was something in his head. Yeah, that was something. Anyway, I saw that there was someone new to, chat in the stream. Welcome. I don't know if I scared you, away. I don't know if you're still here, but welcome to the stream. I'm Miria from Cometa Virtual Live, and I'm doing a horror reading stream. Yeah. Oh boy. Crazy. Yeah. Sorry. Because it felt like it was a guy reading, I tried to lower my voice a bit. So that it fits, you know. I can't do low voices, that's the thing. I really can't. It's very difficult for me to do low voices. So this story sounded like a patient testimony. Are you sure about that? There are gadgets that could produce a whistling or annoying sound to a small degree that one person could hear it. Yeah. Or maybe he has like tinnitus or something. I don't know. Like, you know how tinnitus actually like continues to happen even if he like wanted to stop? Maybe I'm imagining maybe it's that. Voice packs when I don't know. Ask Bossu. yeah, it's just a story. This was fortunately this was on No Sleep. It was on No Sleep. So yeah. It's not like the Smiling Man. Tinnitus in a bad cue. But isn't it? Yeah, that's true. Tinnitus is like just a ringing noise in your ears. Yeah. yeah. It's on No Sleep, so don't worry about it. Whether we can trust whether No Sleep stories are based on real life events, that will have to I will have to wait, but at least it's there, so we have the benefit of the doubt. Super low frequency sounds can make brains imagine things both auditory and visual. Yes, I feel like that might be the case. He probably needs to sleep more. Maybe he's stressed or something, but damn. Yeah. The part that really got to me is the part where he said that her eyes are just rolled back, her mouth's hanging open, and she's still whistling. She's still whistling. We roleplay in her. It's why quiet rooms make some people insane. Actually, if I remember correctly, there's this thing called a sensory chamber, and it basically erases all of your senses. Or like when you're there, you don't have a sense of sight, a sense of hearing. It feels as if you're in limbo, or absolutely you're just empty. Yeah, something. That frying pan that he used though. Oh god. ELAINE! What do you mean the knocking on your bed frame? Well, that was a short one. That was how do I get my girlfriend to knock off this annoying habit, and apparently it's whistling. I actually can't whistle. Can you guys whistle? I can't whistle. I can't whistle. He has nothing to be annoyed at me. Whist, 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 whist. Yeah, I can't whistle. I can't whistle. Yeah, he knocked off his. Oh my god, the title. He knocked off his girl. Damn. Yeah, if we whistle, we can. Whist, 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 whist. You make a small O with your teeth and lips, and then blow. I can't. I really can't. I think I need an actual whistle so that I could do it. My favorite VTuber won't stop this annoying habit. She keeps trying to whistle. I want her to shut up. Yeah. 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 But I imagine that being alone in a room and someone starts whistling and you know it's not you would be kind of freaky. Would be very, very freaky. Would be. If you get good enough, you can whistle both blowing air out and sucking air in. I can't. I really can't. Yeah. Yeah. If you're getting scared, feel free to open your lights. Now wrap yourself with a blanket and please do stay warm. Do stay warm. Oh boy. Oh, I forgot to change the background music. But anyway, let's proceed with the next story. Yeah, let's proceed with the next story since I have this background music on. It's like how you blow a flute. I've never played a flute before. Oh. Well, how do you explain that nagging feeling when something is with you but nothing is there? I feel like that's paranoia at work. I feel it too sometimes. Like, it really eggs me on, especially when I'm extremely stressed. But I feel like it happens even if I'm not, even if I'm relaxed and stuff. And something starts feeling like there's something occupying space right near me, but nothing's there. I can visually confirm that nothing is there, but it feels like something is there. That's the thing. Yeah, which is scary. Good night. Good night. Please take care. I hope you can still sleep. I hope you don't have nightmares. But thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've never experienced sleep paralysis before. I haven't experienced sleep paralysis before. But some people say that they have sleeping demons, sleep paralysis demons. Yeah. Yeah. So I hope I never have to experience it because yeah. Well, folks say that when you have a nagging feeling, you're not alone. Why do I always have nagging feelings when I'm alone? Hello, welcome to the stream. We are just, this is our third story. This is our third story. Yeah, doing okay. I'm kind of freaked out, kind of scared. But, hope you guys are still doing. You're the demon yourself. Good job. You find it annoying after getting used to it. I still wish I never experienced it because I feel like I probably would be very, very paranoid when that happens. It's just that you can't move, but you can see things. That's sleep paralysis. That's scary. Yeah. Okay, so let me remove the story and let's select the next one. Yeah. So let's see. Our next one would be the one next on my list is another short one. And the on no sleep, this was marked as not safe for brick. I think everything here is not safe for brick, just as a reminder. And I am reminding you of the title of the stream. It's disturbing reading at this point. It's not even like reading stream anymore. I have to specify that it's disturbing. So yeah. If you feel a bit squeamish, feel free to mute me for a bit. Even I honestly am getting freaked out by these things because this is the first time I'm reading all of this, okay? It's the first time that I'm reading all of this. So if you I'm just basically winging it when it comes to storytelling. I'm winging I'm basically just doing ad-lib. That's the term, right? Ad-lib. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Elaine. I give hug too. Huggy. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. You like gore. Well, to be fair, it's yeah. You'll probably call it a night. It's okay. I hope you can sleep well. Yeah. Okay, I'll bring out the next story. This one is called Autopilot. Autopilot. There we go. Okay. Yeah, this is called Autopilot. Yeah, okay. So this was also on No Sleep. And I think this is another one of those short ones. So I'm very nervous. I'm very, very nervous, honestly. Surgeon Simulator Miria is still scarier. Wow. I feel like it's fun doing Surgeon Simulator, that's the thing. Alright, let me bring this back. Alright. Hope you guys are braced for this. Staff Chan warned me about this, so I assume I should warn you guys also about this as well. Yeah, if you ever feel like it's too much, feel free to mute. Let's begin. Have you ever forgotten your phone? When did you realize you'd forgotten it? I'm guessing you didn't just smack your forehead and exclaim, "Damn," apropos of nothing. The realization probably didn't dawn on you spontaneously. More likely, you reached for your phone, pawing open your pocket or handbag, and were momentarily confused by it not being there. Then you did a mental re-step of this morning's events. Shit. In my case, my phone's alarm woke me up as normal, but I realized the battery was lower than I expected. It was a new phone, and it had this annoying habit of leaving applications running that drained the battery overnight. So, I put it on to charge while I showered instead of my bag, like normal. It was a momentary slip from the routine, but that was all it took. Once in the shower, my brain got back into the routine it follows every morning, and that was it. Forgotten. This wasn't just me being clumsy. As I later researched, this is a recognized brain function. Your brain doesn't just work on one level, it works on many. Like, when you're walking somewhere, you think about your destination and avoiding hazards, but you don't need to think about keeping your legs moving properly. If you did, the entire world will turn into one massive, hilarious Quap cosplay. I wasn't thinking about regulating my breathing. I was thinking whether I should grab a coffee on the drive to work, and I did. I wasn't thinking about moving my breakfast through my intestines. I was wondering whether I'd finish on time to pick up my daughter Emily from nursery after work, or get stuck with another late fee. This is the thing. There is a level of your brain that just deals with routine so that the rest of the brain can think about other things. Think about it. Think about your last commute. What do you actually remember? Little, if anything, probably. Most common journeys blur into one, and recalling anyone in particular is scientifically proven to be difficult. Do something often enough and it becomes routine. Keep doing it, and it stops being processed by the thinking bit of the brain and gets relegated to a part of the brain dedicated to dealing with routine. Your brain keeps doing it without you thinking about it. Soon you think your route to work as much as you do keeping your legs moving when you walk. As in, not at all. Most people call it autopilot, but there's danger there. If you have a break in your routine, your ability to remember and account for the break is only as good as your ability to stop your brain from going into routine mode. My ability to remember my phone being on the counter is only as reliable as my ability to stop my brain entering morning routine mode, which would dictate that my phone is usually actually in my bag.
But I didn't stop my brain from entering routine mode. I got into the shower as normal. Routine started, exception forgotten. Autopilot engaged. My brain was back in the routine. I showered, I shaved, the radio forecast, amazing weather. I gave Emily her breakfast and loaded her into the car. She was so adorable that morning. She complained about the bad sun in the morning, blinding her, saying it stopped her having a little sleep on the way to nursery. Then I left. That was the routine. It didn't matter that my phone was on the counter, charging silently. My brain was in the routine, and in the routine, my phone was in my bag. This is why I forgot my phone. Not clumsiness, not negligence. Nothing more, my brain entering routine mode and overriding the exception. Autopilot engaged. I left for work. It's a swelteringly hot day already. The bad sun had been burning since before my traitorously absent phone woke me. The steering wheel was burning hot to the touch when I sat down. I think I heard Emily shift over my driver's seat to get out of the glare. But I got to work, submitted the report, attended the morning meeting. It's not until I took a quick coffee break and reached for my phone that the illusion shattered. I did a mental reset. I remembered the dying battery. I remembered putting it on to charge. I remember leaving it there. My phone was on the counter. Autopilot disengaged. Again, therein lies danger. Until you have that moment, the moment you reach for your phone and shatter the illusion, that part of the brain is still in routine mode. It has no reason to question the facts of the routine. That's why it's a routine. Attrition of repetition. It's not as if anyone could say, "Why didn't you remember your phone? Didn't it occur to you? How could you forget? You must be negligent." This is to miss the point. My brain was telling me the routine was completed as normal, despite the fact that it wasn't. It wasn't that I forgot my phone. According to my brain, according to the routine, my phone was in my bag. Why would I think to question it? Why would I check? Why would I suddenly remember out of nowhere that my phone was on the counter? My brain was wired into the routine, and the routine that was my phone in my bag. The day continued to bake. The morning haze gave way to the relentless fever heat of the afternoon. Tarmac bubbled. The direct beams of heat threatened to crack the pavement. People swapped coffees for iced smoothies, jackets discarded, sleeves rolled up, ties loosened, brows mopped. The parks slowly filled with sunbathers and barbecues. Window frames threatened to warp. The thermometer continued to swell. Thank fuck the offices were air-conditioned. But as ever, the furnace of the day gave way to a cooler evening. Another day, another dollar. Still cursing myself for forgetting my phone, I drove home. The day's heat had baked the inside of the car, releasing a horrible smell from somewhere. When I arrived on the driveway, the stones crunching comfortingly under my tires, my wife greeted me at the door.
Where's Emily?
Fuck. As if the phone wasn't bad enough. After everything, I'd left Emily at the fucking nursery after all. I immediately sped back to the nursery. I got to the door and started practicing my excuses, wondering vainly if I could charm my way out of a late fee. I saw a piece of paper stuck to the door.
Due to vandalism overnight, please use side door. Today only.
Overnight? What? The door was fine this morning. I froze. My knees shook. Vandals. A change in the routine. My phone was on the counter. I hadn't been here this morning. My phone was on the counter. I'd driven past because I was drinking my coffee. I'd not dropped off Emily. My phone was on the counter. She'd moved her seat. I hadn't seen her in the mirror. My phone was on the counter. She'd fallen asleep out of the bad sun. She didn't speak when I drove past her nursery. My phone was on the counter. She changed routine. My phone was on the counter. She changed the routine and I'd forgotten to drop her off. My phone was on the counter. 9 hours, that car, that baking sun. No air. No water. No power, no help, that heat. The steering wheel too hot to touch. That smell. I walked to the car door. Numb. Shock. I opened the door. My phone was on the counter and my daughter was dead. Autopilot disengaged.
Oh boy, that was again, that was something. Yeah, that was something. Okay. Yeah, oh, he forgot. Yeah, he did. Okay. She was supposed to be. I opened the door. Is this the DLC moment? Yeah. Oh god, that was This would be funny if people leaving that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh god, that was. Ooh. It was a bit confusing. Where did you get confused? It was at that point, at the realization that he realized that routine broke, and I think I like the story structure for this one because he really emphasized what routine was. He emphasized that this is what he normally does. This is what he does in the morning. He goes to work. He drops off Emily to the nursery. But he emphasized as well, what changed. He emphasized that Emily decided to sleep. She moved her chair away from the sun. It was too hot. And, yeah. And Emily never said anything that they've already passed away. They passed by the nursery. That was the scary part. Yeah. Ah, that was scary. Yeah, so the thing is, whatever this guy is telling you is actually real. You have parts in your brain, things that I've learned in your neuroanatomy class, that there are some brain functions that relegate it to autopilot itself. It's not necessarily called autopilot, but it performs the rest of your actions autonomously, like exempt from what you naturally do. Yeah. Yes, I like the mannerisms of the author. It's actually, if it generates enough context so that you understand what was happening. Yeah. It's like muscle memory, exactly. You have some parts in the brain that actually function so that it can do the things that you don't need to consciously do. Like blinking. You naturally blink in order for your eyes to not get dry by the external environment. You naturally breathe so that obviously you can get air in your lungs. You tend to be conscious about breathing if someone tells you to like breathe, you know. But when you're not conscious of it, you still do it. You don't suddenly run out of air. That's the thing. Other autonomous functions of the body would be your throat, your stomach processing the food without you consciously doing things here. Yeah, the involuntary things, yeah. You are now manually breathing. But yes, if you're less conscious about it, it just happens naturally. It's part of the involuntary things that your body does to keep you alive. That's the thing. So I like how he likened this experience to something like that, because it makes sense. It rationalizes what's happening and why it felt so natural to do that. So yeah, that's the thing. Yes, your heart beats naturally and on its own. You can't control your heart. It's automatically processed by your brain and the electric signals in your yeah. Okay. It's scary that it's a natural thing. Well, it's part of your body's function to stay alive. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's so scary. He already smelled something wrong in his car and he just ignored it. He just ignored it. And then he realized it after a while, after his wife had asked, "Where's Emily?" And he just automatically thought that maybe Emily was left back at the nursery because it's something that he used to do. Because it's something that happened before. He thought that that was the possibility. But the fact that he left Emily inside the car, baking in the heat, no oxygen. That's the scary part of it. That's the scary part of the story, I think. Yeah. The brain does things that the brain doesn't notify itself about. Yes, your brain updates automatically. It doesn't even ask for permission. It just happens. It just happens. Yeah. It's scary that it can be real. Actually, yeah. That's why you have to be very, very mindful, especially if you have children on board, if you have pets even. I'm pretty sure the stench of burnt flesh would instantly force you to look for the source. But yeah, autopilot. Actually, I feel like yes, it would yeah, I feel like it would be very distinct enough. Very distinct enough that you would be able to discern a strange smell from what smells like decay or rotting flesh or whatever, especially in the sweltering heat where it makes things process faster, right? So you'd think that he would be able to realize it at some point, but maybe he's just so ingrained into routine that it's so ingrained in routine that he just chose to ignore it. That's the scary thing. The fact that you can ignore something so wrong. Yeah. The fact that you can ignore something that's very, very dangerous is the reason why these things are so scary. Like, sometimes I find that things that happen in real life are actually scarier than things that are coming from fictional stories, you know? Yeah. It's more sad than scary. True, true. The fact that it could happen is, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, bloating dead flesh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, he chooses to pay attention to the things that he isn't supposed to, that it turned back against him, yeah. To have something happening outside your routine and brushing it off is very dangerous, yeah. So even then, you probably shouldn't, like, try to, like, go on complete autopilot. You still have to be mindful. My sister left the stove on because of routine. Yeah. You could have ended up in a fire, and I'm glad that that didn't happen. Kaka-cellphone mo yan, that sort of thing. But yeah, oh boy, that was sad and scary. The child might have passed, yeah. Aww. Real life is scarier than fiction. Yeah, watch people die. You know another neat thing that I used to do back when I was still, like, pretty active on Reddit? I used to be on Reddit 50/50. You know that subreddit, Reddit 50/50? Yeah. Reddit 50/50 was something. Everything is something, honestly. But yeah. Reddit 50/50 pretty much traumatized me. Yeah. Like, for some reason it was entertaining, but at the same time I can't believe that was something I participated in. It was absolutely insane being there. Wholesome or gore? That was the only thing. It was a 50/50. You'll never know if you're getting strawberries or... Yes, that's essentially the concept of Reddit 50/50, and I can't believe that that was my pastime back then. So it was really fucked up. It was really messed up. I can't believe it. I think the subreddit is still very active, but you know, I feel like there are a lot of gore stuff that's been repeated so much that it kind of desensitizes you. I Bleach, yes! That subreddit is a godsend. You don't have to go to Reddit 50/50, okay? Please don't. Not right now. Not right now. Yeah, defos. But yeah. Alright, let's see what's up next. And it's actually almost 2. Don't look at Reddit 50/50! Well, yeah, even on Recite, they're now defunct. Like what? But yeah, the internet was definitely something back then. I feel like right now, 50/50 is not safe for life. It's not even just not safe for work. It's not safe for freaking life. I don't think I can do a Reddit 50/50 stream. That would be too much for my brain. That's the thing, right? That's too much. Yeah. That subreddit is way beyond my yes, the unfiltered content they were insane back then. Yeah. It's not safe for life. Yeah, not the kind of thing that you want to engage in, honestly speaking. Lewds are basic. Lewds are just
Loser safe at this point, but whatever is on Reddit 50/50, yeah. The internet of yore is so scary and crazy, okay?
Yeah, okay, let's see what's next. The next one is actually, let me know if you guys want, okay, this is a short one. Let's do another short one. Yeah, we might need to do another part 2. I feel like at this point, lewds are your eye bleach for Reddit 50/50, but I'm not sure if lewds can actually save you from whatever trauma you can get from that. So don't do it, okay? Don't do it. Yeah. Okay. Because it's like almost 2, and apparently we still have a lot. We still have a lot. The other prompts, the other things that I would read are actually very, very long, like a few pages long. Oh, it's 1 a.m. Yes, it's almost 1 a.m. Sorry. Part 2 before New Year. You would actually want that? I wouldn't mind. I actually enjoy this, knowing that I'm not reading it alone. Sorry. Hi. But yeah, considering that you guys actually like it, I would actually do this again. This is fun. Hi. This is very, very fun. Ooh. Medianoche special. Oh, okay. So it's Noche Buena for the December 24, and it's Medianoche for before. Ah, okay. I get it now. Yeah. Will you make this a once in a while thing? Yes, I actually do like reading. I like narrating. Like sometimes I just don't want to play. I want to read stuff, but at the same time, like I want to. I like telling stories. That's the thing. I like storytelling. I like narrating. I like voice acting to an extent. Although I'm not particularly that well versed in it, but it's really something that I enjoy doing. And if you guys if you guys enjoy it as well, then I'm very, very glad to hear that. Visual novels. I love visual novels. Although, yeah, you would want this occasionally. I wouldn't mind. I would totally do this. It's really fun. I actually, before I started the stream, I was very, very scared. I was extremely, extremely scared because I didn't know what I was gonna read, and I didn't know how people would react to it, and I honestly thought that a lot of people would already be asleep at this time. So it's really nice to see that you guys are still here, and I want to let you guys know that I appreciate it. No cap. Yeah. Okay. We can read one last. And we can call it a night. Assuming, of course, that you can still sleep after this. How the hell was I supposed to sleep? I don't know. I even wonder how I'm supposed to sleep after this, because I have it vividly in my imagination right now, and I can't imagine having to sleep after listening to this myself. Hello, welcome. We are down to our last story for the night. It is very scary, but let's see. This is one of the shorter prompts. The others are... Actually, we can do 2 more. I have 2 short ones. I have 2 short ones. The longer ones can probably wait until stream number 2 for the same for the same series. So apparently this is going to be a series now. I'm surprised, but thank you so much for appreciating this kind of stream. So yeah, we have 2 more stories. So let's go. You need my brain fried. 21st century. Yes, let's look at cute stuff after. Don't worry, Miria. No one will whistle while you sleep or smile beside you. Not at all. Let me just drink some water, and then let's read 2 more stories. Yes, you can probably send more sweet creepypasta suggestions for part 2. Now knowing that I can actually do a certain level of acting for narrating these things, I think I can read even the fan-made submissions. So stay tuned for next time. I'll do my best to be able to accomplish and incorporate all of your submissions so far. So yeah. So stick around. I'll definitely try to make sure that everything gets read, or at least the ones that Staff Chan deems valid. Okay, we still have to get through the Staff Chan. So yeah, if you tag your stuff and you make sure that you link text or not webtoons, not images, because I don't think we can show that on stream. Yeah. I don't think we can do images on stream because they might be limited in terms of limited in terms of what we can show on stream. So yeah. Alright. This one is You Lost Your Sight. So it's a writing prompt in our writing prompts. So I'll change the title. So yeah, you lost your sight. Alright, okay. Yeah, let's try to avoid getting copy strike or something. Let's avoid that. We kind of don't want to. Yeah. Psychological horror is amazing. Actually, that's one of the genres I really appreciate because it really gets you thinking, and at the same time, it just really boggles the mind. So anyway, this is from this subreddit writing prompts, and we're gonna be reading something with the prompt "You lost your sight." So essentially, the prompt for this one is actually, let me read the prompt for you guys. The writing prompt is, you lost your sight along with everyone else on Earth in the Great Blinding. So the Great Blinding is the event that happened. That's when everyone started turning blind. 2 years later, without warning, your sight returns. As you look around, you realize that every available wall, floor, and surface has been painted with the same message. Don't tell them you can see. Okay? So that's the writing prompt for which this was based on. So let's do that right now. Let me show the story real quick. Let's, yeah. When you lost your sight. Okay, here you go. Whoa! Let's go. When the blinding first occurred, I thought I was the only individual affected. I was sitting at my desk, working on a school paper, and in an instant, everything went black. I had cried out to my parents in fear and confusion, but their response was like an echo of my own. They, too, couldn't see. And we soon learned that the entire world had been victim to having their sight filled with darkness. Interestingly enough, we don't think this affected any of the animals living on Earth, just as humans. The only strange thing that occurred after this was the fact that the demand for milk skyrocketed. At first, adapting was extremely difficult. Something as mundane and simple as using the bathroom had become a daily challenge I didn't look forward to. Within a few months, support groups had been created by individuals who were already blind prior to the incident. They assisted those who were struggling with adapting to their newfound obstacle. Thankfully, the world never really stopped moving or progressing. Outside of major adjustments that had to be made, such as devising a different mode of transportation or different requirements and standards in the working world, we managed to pull through. It's been about 2 years since the blinding, and there were times where I had forgotten such an event had occurred. I was taking a short walk to the store to get some groceries. I don't know why, but I've developed almost a dependency-like state on milk. I had gripped the handle to the door to the small grocery store and pushed the door open. A bell was hung on the inside handle of the door. "Hello, let me know if you need anything. Let me know if you need help finding anything," a voice said to my right. "Thanks, Dave, I will," I responded. "Hey John, how have you been?" he asked with a somewhat enthusiastic tone. With a somewhat slow pace, I walked around the store, feeling along the braille to determine if I had found my item. "Pretty much the same," I said with a bit of a chuckle. My hand touched something cold. Finally found the milk. As I was about to open the door, I could see my reflection in the rectangle-shaped window of the cooler. I wasn't entirely sure how to react, nor was I sure as to what happened. I was looking at myself in a mirror for the first time in 2 years. I started shaking, and I could feel warmth and moisture filling my eyes. I noticed writing on the reflection itself. I was so excited I hadn't even noticed. In fact, most of the interior was covered in this writing. Looked a little close at the message written in black. It says, "Don't tell them you can see." What the hell does that mean? Who's them? I then caught a glimpse of the individual standing behind the counter of the store. What the fuck is that? "John, you need some help, buddy?" it asked. It had Dave's voice, but it definitely wasn't Dave. And the way its mouth moved was... Wait.
Is that its mouth? I have no idea. I was staring at something that was at least 6 feet tall. Grotesque and eldritch was the only way I could describe it. Its dark brown skin was smooth and moist, with extremely tiny openings on its skin. It wasn't wearing any type of clothing. Its arms were somewhat long and thin, and these thin-looking appendages that ended in human-looking hands. Its head was shaped like a large basketball. The creature's mouth moved and looked to be in a vertical position when it spoke. I could see many layers, and I could see many rows of crocodile-like teeth. "Here, John, let me come help," it said. Its voice had changed as well. It was gurgled and sounded like it was being put through a filter. As it moved, I could hear it squish against the floor. That was the first time I've ever heard that. Why am I hearing that just now? Why have I never heard that before? Instead of gaping at the reflection and trying to ascertain how it walks, I simply stared at the jug of milk. That's when I noticed that the color of the milk. It wasn't white or brown or any color a milk should be. It was dark black. As the creature grew closer, a foul smell harassed my nostrils. It took everything I had to not vomit. It reached out with its human-like appendage and touched my shoulder. My entire body tensed up. "We're having a lot of different specials on milk today," it said, and I could see its mouth open wide behind my head with what I assumed was a smile. Oh god. He broke the game. He broke the game. He's out of the simulation. I kind of don't want to drink milk. I have a lot of milk downstairs at the refrigerator. Ugh. People shouldn't smile. Yes. Oh boy. Yeah. That's like waking up from a nightmare, but the real nightmare has only just begun. Yes, that's very true. That was spooky. It was spooky. Yeah. Yeah. Dark chalky milk. Better check at that milk spot. Yeah. Okay, so they turned blind for 2 years, and apparently whatever changed is that their adaptations to losing their vision is milk, but it's Coke. Yeah. Yeah. That's not stopping me from enjoying my dairy. I have nice milk downstairs. I enjoy drinking milk. It's for stronger bones. Yeah, I wish there was more to it. I feel like there should have been a continuation. I want to know what happens after. Like, was he actually able to keep up with the charade? Malk. Adobong pusit sauce. Yeah, I feel like that was super bitten. super cut short, yeah. My cereal story is fine. Nothing is bad, okay? It's a cliffhanger. Actually, let's check if there is a part 2. I'll check the Reddit real quick. Where's the rest? I demand answers. This is so disturbing. There has to be more. Please send more. Okay, I don't think OP ever posted after. No second part needed. I don't care why everyone asks for more. Did you guys not get what happened? Okay, there's a PSA. For those who didn't get it. As soon as something went wrong, his sight returning, he was standing there in shock. The creature knew. It continued to play the part because, well, it was fun there was fun in it. Something happened to the outside world, and those words written were probably left by existing survivors. The milk can have numerous explanations, but it could keep blindness or serve as a way of preparation of being consumed by these beings. This is proved even more by the creature changing its voice and making noises it couldn't allow before. Therefore, as soon as it knew that John could see, as soon as it knew that John realized it, it just went ahead, crept behind it, and smiled and possibly ate him. Oh, I see. I get it now. Okay. Like, I was wondering why it suddenly started making those sounds. Yeah, I guess the creature really realized. That, oh, he's finally caught up. He knows the charade now. Okay, I get it now. My reading comprehension, bruh. Oh boy. Sorry, John. I guess it was your time. Yeah, oh gosh. John is dead, yeah. the creature realized that John could see and just decided to play a little bit. Just have a little fun with its prey. It was reasonable, yeah. F's for John. Cat's out of the bag, but you know, I might as well have fun with my next meal. Might as well play with my food a little bit before I consume it whole. This is some weird Garfield fanfiction. Oh my god, I love that. I love that comment. Thanks. Who knows? Maybe John escaped. Maybe John figured out a way to get out of here. But yeah, it's definitely a cliffhanger. I guess John's getting milk. Oh my god, what if the milk came from them? Holy crap. Peak predator behavior. John is dead. Maybe this was actually Garfield in disguise. There was never a Dave. Skinwalker stories. I'm not familiar with those. Maybe that's something I can read next time. The milk is lasagna. Sorry, John material, yeah. Yeah. I've never read Skinwalkers before. Maybe I can check that out for next for the next iteration, for the next stream in the series. Apparently this is gonna be a series. This is a Skinwalker story? Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with it, so like, yeah. Yeah. Alright. I think we can do one more. Just one more story. I have one more short story, and then we can call it a night, or whatever you want to call it. If it's morning, afternoon for you guys, yeah. Yeah. It was really freaky. Okay, the last one is called, let me see what it's called. The last one is called Package Marked Return to Sender. Alright, so I hope you can stay on board with me. Alright. Yes, it's short. I promise it's short. It's not as long as the Russian sleeping experiment based on what I'm seeing right now. It might be. But no, it's not. Okay. Package mark. Oh wait, let me... There we go. That's the title. I'm not familiar with this one either. So yeah, okay. Package mark return to sender. This is going to be your last story for the night. No, I can't stream until Christmas. I have to rest as well. Hi, Sir Wheatbread. Welcome to the stream. Is this a Lazada moment? I don't know. We'll have to figure out what it is. We'll have to figure out how this works. All right. So I hope you'll be with me for the last of the ride. Yeah. I don't know this either, so I'm going in blind, like John earlier. Yeah. Anyway, let's start. Let me just change this real quick. Let me just read water. I'm gonna look at my water. Let me just take a really quick sip. Alright, there we go. Package marked return to sender. My neighbor is one of those annoying wannabe YouTube personalities. Over the years, I've seen him cough out cinnamon, lay flat on the hood of his car as it slowly creeps down the driveway, and douse himself in lukewarm water, all the while screaming, epic win, epic fail, or fuck, epic maintenance of the status quo, for all I know. It can get tiring to watch him go about his shenanigans in pursuit of viral fame. So when he knocked on my door the other day and told me he was going away for a few weeks and asked that I get his mail, honestly, it was a relief. I can't explain the peace of mind I had knowing that I didn't have to brace myself for any of his stupidity for a while. I was always afraid his stunts would wind up bleeding over into my life. Those things were pretty normal for the first couple of days. He received a few bills, a bit of spam, and what I could only assume was a birthday card. Then, one evening, I got home to find a cardboard box waiting on his front porch. In big red letters was written, "Return to sender." I'm no small fry, but I admit I had trouble lifting the box on my own. It was really frickin' heavy. Lugging it across the road to my house was even harder, and I quickly realized there was no way I was going to drag it up the stairs and through my front door. I decided I'd leave his package in my garage. It wasn't like I kept my car in there. The garage door was a piece of shit that refused to open without a good thug and a whack. It was less trouble just leaving the car in the driveway than it was to fight with the garage door every morning and night. In hindsight, I should have set the package down while I struggled to open the tricky door. But you know how it is when you've got a good grip on something. No point in setting it down if you don't have to. It was as I kicked the door for a third time that I lost my grip on the package and it fell to the ground. I heard a light crack inside. Shit, I cursed. I hope I hadn't broken anything important, but figured I just wouldn't tell my neighbor about it and let him assume the break happened en route. Hands-free, I finally managed to get the garage door unstuck, and boy did it screech in protest as I rolled it up over me. I dragged the box the rest of the way, setting it in the corner for whenever my neighbor would come back to claim it. And then I forgot all about it. Until a few days passed, that is. I'm not sure exactly how long it took for the smell to waft in from the crack underneath the garage-to-house door, but it came in slow progression. It was a sickly sweet odor similar to a skunk, and for the first few days after I smelled it, I genuinely assumed that that's exactly what it was, roadkill that had left its mark on my house. It was only when I realized that the scent was growing more and more intense instead of fading that I went looking for a source. That's when I opened the garage door, and that's when the odor knocked me back, holding my nose. The culprit wasn't hard to identify. The only change in my garage was the box in the corner. I remember thinking it must have been one of those meat of the month subscription boxes. The meat must have gone rancid from being left out of the fridge for so long. How much meat could have been in there for the box to have been so large and heavy? An entire freaking cow? I covered my nose as I approached the box, a pair of scissors in my hands. I probably wouldn't have needed them to open it, as it had become soggy enough at the bottom to poke through with a finger. But I wasn't about to poke my finger into spoiled meat juices. That soggy bottom was the reason I had to open the box in the first place. If I tried to drag it out whole, everything would spill onto the floor, and I was gonna have to dump the pieces of meat one garbage bag at a time and take them down to the dumpster. A process I wasn't looking forward to. My scissors tore through the tape along the top of the cardboard box. I thought the smell couldn't get any worse, but as I flipped the flaps open, I discovered a whole new gamut of stink. It was like opening a burning oven, but instead of a heat wave, I was met with waves of piss, sweat, shit, and putrefaction. It was so bad that I staggered back and had to force down the puke, begging to guzzle out of me. I don't think I could have handled that scent mingling with the horrors coming out of the box. I'm not ashamed to admit I ran out to the door for a breath of fresh air, but in the short time I'd spent in the garage, the smell had become so ingrained into the fabric of my clothes that it clung to me like a shadow. Nothing I tried could keep the smell out of my nostrils, not air fresheners, not a face mask, not 3 showers and a change of clothes. Every second that box lay open in my garage was another second the smell was allowed a foothold into my home. I had to bite the bullet. I returned to the garage, the flaps of the box still open as though inviting me to look. I was prepared. A clothespin pinning my nostrils shut, a garbage bag in one hand, the strongest cleaner I could find in the other, and long rubber gloves to keep my skin from having to touch what was inside. But as it turns out, I needed none of those things. I wouldn't have to touch or clean the contents of that box. I would only have to suffer the nightmares every night. You see, there was meat in that box, but it didn't come from a cow or a pig. No, it was worse than that. It was my neighbor. Dead. Still in one piece. But dead. I called the cops, and naturally they took me in for interrogation. It's kind of hard to not suspect the man with a corpse in his garage after all. Thankfully, they soon realized I wasn't involved. My DNA might have been all over that box. The smell might have left a mark throughout my house. But there was one piece of irrefutable evidence in my neighbor's own hands that proved my innocence. A vlogging camera. They showed me the footage only once. I'm not sure if they were allowed to, or if they felt so bad for me they figured it couldn't hurt. Either way, I saw it. My neighbor was sitting in the box outside of a shipping facility, laughing as he told the world how he was going to mail himself across state lines. He'd brought pee bottles, food, a pillow, and a few flashlights. His friend, a guy I'd seen at his place several times to help with his stunts, closed the lid and presumably dropped him off for shipment. Throughout the next couple of hours or days, I'm honestly not sure, my neighbor recorded a few short clips about his progress. I think I'm in a truck now. I can feel it moving. Must be in a warehouse. Pretty warm in here. Still got plenty of food. That kind of stuff. And then on the last entry, the box toppled over. He broke his neck and that was it. The camera recorded until the memory card got too full or the battery died. There's one thing I didn't tell the police after they showed me the video. One thing I heard in the footage that will haunt me to the day I die. Just after the tumble that broke his neck, I heard the familiar screeching sound of my garage door. Oh my god. Okay. It was really... I was gonna say it was really something. But, okay, yeah, I was about to, like... Oh, okay, it's just... Yeah, I saw the comments about the unboxing gone wrong, but... It's a prank gone wrong, but, okay, oh my god. Oh, holy crap. That was something. Jesus. That was something. Oh. Yeah, it went... Yeah, you're right. It went scary to dumb to 100% scary, okay? Like, it took a few seconds, actually, for me to, no return, no exchange policy. Actually, it took a few seconds. It took a few seconds as I was reading the last part, the part that... the last part. There's one thing I didn't tell the police after they showed me the video. The one thing I heard in the footage that will haunt me to the day that I die. Just after the tumble that broke his neck, I heard the familiar screeching of my garage door. It took a few seconds for me. It took a few seconds for me to realize that it started clicking. It started clicking into place after a few seconds. Like, oh, it's a callback to what happened earlier in the story. Oh god. And to be fair, and to be very fair, this guy, OP's innocent, you know? He didn't expect anything. Yeah, he died when he got to OP's house. Unintentionally. The way that the realization kicks in is definitely very, very scary, yeah. Holy crap, yeah. I was about to feel bad because like, oh, okay, yeah, another one of those vlogging stunts gone wrong, but this is horrible. It's an accident. And you know how let me go back to that part. Let me go back to that part. He said yeah, look, here. It was as I kicked the door for a third time that I lost my grip on the package and it fell to the ground. I heard a light crack inside. Shit, okay? Like when you look at this, like, it says so here, right? If you can see my highlight. I hope I hadn't broken anything important, but I figured I just wouldn't tell my neighbor about it and let him assume the break happened en route. He couldn't tell him anymore because he's dead. Yeah, you're kind of surprised his shit wasn't heard in the video. Maybe he cursed under his breath. That was the thing. Yeah, the police can't blame him. OP was unaware, and I don't think the police realized that that was his garage door. Because the police doesn't know about the garage door thing, about it being like, really creaky and stuff like that. That's the thing. Vlogger dude just traumatized the poor... Yeah, OP's the victim here. He never wanted to be a part of this, situation, but it just, yeah. Lesson learned, don't be a YouTuber. I guess it's time to quit, guys. Sorry. I'm graduating. The time of death. Actually, while I was reading the first part of the story, when he actually got the box, I already thought that maybe the contents was a dead person inside. That was what I was thinking already. I was wondering that maybe it was already dead the moment it got to OP. That was the thing. But the fact that it happened, he was still alive when he got to OP. That was a... Oh. Yeah. Worst case scenario, it would be the shipping company's fault for letting the package be sent through their system. So here's hoping they pay for the therapy at least. Actually, yeah, they should be inspecting these packages though. Yeah, they should be inspecting these packages. They shouldn't be letting live people be inside boxes this big. Yeah, don't ship yourself in a box across states. That's very dangerous. That's really, really dangerous. And I'm surprised, you know, like, he probably, this entire box is probably handled very properly by a lot of people who were transferring and shipping it around this through states. And it just so happened that maybe OP didn't notice that it was quote-unquote fragile. Yeah, I thought it was like chopped or something. Me too. Like, it was actually like disembodied or disemboweled or whatever. Yeah, my question is how small the neighbor was, or how... I assume it was a very big box. OP was complaining that it was a very, very big box. I appreciate chat doing whose fault is it anyway. Yeah, we're discussing these things. Kind of like how we discuss a lot of things during just chatting streams. Yeah. I mean, he would have been flipped like 10 times in transit. That's true. He could have gotten motion sickness and stuff like that. He could have been rolling in his own vomit or whatever. But apparently, he still survived that. But a crack from the garage door. That's, yeah. Yes, a dead body is actually heavier than an alive body. Yeah, there's a reason for that, which I will have to get back to you on that. But yes, that's true, that's true. Refrigerator boxes, maybe he's one of those smaller people, you know? But yeah. As someone who works with mail, I can assure you that they don't handle anything gently. Yeah, it's only trusting that they will probably take care of it, especially if it's marked fragile. But yeah, you can't completely discount the fact that it could have been yeah. Too bad he wasn't dummy thick. Yeah, oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, if he just put the box down and opened the garage properly, maybe he would have avoided this fate, but you know. Yeah. Still, the pause that I had for that moment was, yeah, it was very, very palpable. That's the thing. Yeah, it was all on luck. It was all on luck. Yeah. Gosh. Whodunit discussion, yeah. Like, essentially, you cannot blame OP for this one, because, he didn't know. He didn't know, and essentially, it was for the neighbor itself. It wasn't necessarily a package meant for him. So, in some states, in some places, it's actually illegal to read someone else's mail. So, technically, he just did the right thing, right? He didn't want to invade other people's privacy, no matter how weird or funky it was. Yeah. Never have I ever stared at my screen like that in my entire life. Yeah, I was so scared. Yeah, he has to keep quiet about that last part though, because yes, if the police knew he accidentally killed him, he would still be held accountable. I think it was accidental manslaughter? I forget. I'm not very particular and I'm not very well versed when it comes to law. But yeah, what if he did just return the box to the sender? What if he was the sender? So he just sent it back to himself, back to home, that sort of thing, yeah. Yes, it's also illegal to ship live things on mail in some states. That's the thing. But I don't... Maybe in this story, the packaging company did not bother to check it. That's the thing. Is it rightful for him to turn himself in? I'm not sure. Technically, it's still not... I don't... Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't... There. The term is involuntary. I don't think it was accidental. Yeah, involuntary. Yeah, that's why he didn't mention the garage sound. And to be fair, the police probably wouldn't know that that was the specific garage sound. Oh, it's accidental manslaughter if he comes clean right away. It's homicide if he hides it and the police finds out later. Oh, I see. So that's how it works. Yeah, depends on how guilty you feel. I feel like Opie would feel very, very guilty considering that, you know, he didn't like his neighbor a lot. That's the thing. He didn't like his neighbor a lot. But, I don't think anyone's filled with that much malice, you know? That sort of thing, yeah. Happy little accidents, oh boy. Yeah. Still, I think it was a very interesting story. It may not be believable, but I still felt chills the moment that things started clicking into place, yeah. It may be a... yeah, it may be a weird story.
Maybe it may be not as believable, but still, I was certainly very terrified. And I hope that the background music I selected for you guys actually helped with feeling things or whatever. I did my best. I tried my best. Okay. The lawyer would just argue negligence. Yeah. But yeah. That's actually all we have for today. The rest of the stories that Staff-chan had compiled are actually very, very long. Very, very long, and it might take like it might take a lot longer to read through without breaks. No, the other ones are actually like more than 100 paragraphs long already. So yeah. Yeah. So it was I don't know where the idea came from, but yeah. That was excruciatingly horrifying. Yeah, I plan to do more reading streams in the future. Maybe in the future we don't even have to do horror reading. Maybe we can just do chill reading streams, you know? You can just do reading streams. It doesn't have it can follow a certain theme. But yeah, just reading streams if you guys like it a lot. Yeah, I don't mind. It was very enjoyable for me as well. It was very, very enjoyable for me as well, and I appreciate that you guys stuck around long enough to stay with me. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Medical book reading streams. I feel like that would be too boring though. Wholesome story or true crime mystery readings? Yes. Yeah, I appreciate that you like this a lot. Precious Hearts romances. Oh my god. A romance reading stream. Woo! Yeah, thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I hope to see you again next time I'm having another near replicant stream. I'm planning on beating the pig before I start the stream on Sunday so that we can actually do story. Yeah. Oh, that subreddit. That's interesting. Yeah, you guys should go to iBleach after this. Also, what's TIFU? I said today I fucked up. Is it today I fucked up? Yeah, I think it's that one. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me, guys. It's been a very, very pleasant evening, and I absolutely loved every single second of it. Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas! And I hope you guys have a nice holiday season. Yeah, with your family, friends, everyone. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on Sunday. I have a replicant stream again, and we'll try to be more productive that way. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. This was Miria from Komata Virtual Live. Otso Miria! 8 Miria! Otso Miria! Otso Miria! Oh yes, Miria! Good night, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good night. Good night.